Hello, everyone. Coming at you live from over an hour of technical difficulty to at least one round of our lemon drop martini. So we shook this up before we started filming, and then the battery died, so we had to drink it. So we already around in. So these are lemon drop martinis, inspired by 50 Shades Darker, because today we talking about sequels, while we are trying so desperately to get away from the 50 Shades thing. You know we can only do so much. So, about those show names. Names are hard. Titling things are hard, and I don't quite know if maybe it wasn't clear last week. It just also moved away, because we initially thought it was going to be more along the lines of a 50 Shades parody, and it did not turn out to be that. So yeah, I think we need to move away. We're trying to move away from being 50 Shades of Grey, knockoff number 9,070 something. So 50 shades of anything is no. No shades. No, none. None. No more shades. No more throwing it. No more having it. No 50-50 nothing. No more lowering them. No more lowering the thing. While we had hoped that we would have our new name, and champion hero of the people he praises upon, we did not find Nate that we particularly liked enough to commit to, but there were some people that were going in a direction that we liked. My personal favorite of all the suggestions was Pulp Affliction by Ulge Mystical. That had the catchiness I think we would really like to have, while also having a pun. Greg McDaniel also suggested Drink Raid Photogon, which we thought was funny, but it was a failure on both counts. We don't want to refer to a popular thing. We don't want to refer to Lovecraft, because we do more than these things. Someone suggested something on the vein of libations, which sounds a little too much like Clitmaster shit. But yeah, some of these were going in the right direction, but nothing we liked enough to commit to, so. We do like puns, but I find in me experience that we're good at spontaneous puns, and terrible at actually coming up with them when we want them, and terrible at titles in all regards. And the person who ends up giving us our title will be heaped with prize. Oh yes, of some sort. That is, it's a surprise prize, whoever gives us our name. So give us our name, and if we like it, and we pick it, you all get a prize that is a surprise. Prize, of course, entirely dependent on how much we like it. Like if it's the best thing ever, then we'll give you the dog. So, all right. So before we start, motherfucker. So while the name suggestions came up a little bit short, the book suggestions were fantastic. So many choices. So we had a lot of choices. Of the ones that we had not read, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children was a popular one. That was a popular one. And one we been wanting to read for a while, so it was very much gunning for that one. Gunning. Boy, why for why. We also got a lot of the more popular, the Matched series, the Gone series, which we decided based on popularity and frequency of being mentioned to go with Cinder by Marissa Meir. So we have not read it yet, but we will have read it within 2 weeks. So let's give a quick rundown from the blurb in the back. This is a library copy, as you can tell by how loved and worn it is, so support your local library. Even in the future, the story begins with Once Upon a Time. Humans and androids, Crow-Kreen's library, Jing. A deadly plague ravages the Pooh barcode, Ner people watch. waiting to make these 2 minutes 8 minutes 5 minutes 6 minutes 5 minutes 9 minutes 2 minutes 8 minutes 7 minutes 9 0. Its fate hinges on one girl, the 16-year-old Cinder. So like we said, the gifting mechanic is a cyborg. She's a cyborg. Support your local library. I kind of avoided this one for a while because it's another goddamn Cinderella retelling, but I feel like I know enough people that really liked it. And also it's got like cyborgs and aliens and shit, which I really like. So who doesn't love cyborgs and aliens? So we'll read this and see if the originality of the premise overcomes the hackneyedness of another goddamn Cinderella retelling. The Orwell, another the Lizel, the right, the higher, I reveal the there, how it is, all we need is you. We will be reading this in 2 weeks' time. And in 2 weeks, when we do our next episode, because Nella is out of town this weekend, you are welcome to read it with us, and then you can share your opinions in the comments of next week's episode. But this week's episode, like I said, we re-celebrating sequels with our, 50 Shades of Grey drink, number 2, because of technical difficulties. Let's talk about Book 2 of the Awoken Saga, Arisen. The only one that came close to being good enough to supplant Arisen Tomb was Forsaken. But I am kind of on the fence on that one. I still kind of like the alliteration idea. I know. Although I have to say, I really did enjoy the suggestion of token. Token. The third one should be alliteration. So Awoken, Arisen, alliteration. If we do end up going with the eat, pray, love, which I'm still, I think we probably going to have to read eat, pray, love at some point, which neither of us have. So it kind of falls into our we probably should. As we got a lot of comments about the nature of parody, especially as our first one is focused mainly on paranormal romance and the tradition. So we got a lot of people saying that we should do dystopia, since that is more the thing now, which it absolutely is, at least in terms of things that are being turned into movies. In publishing world, dystopia is way dead, but in Hollywood world, it's just getting started. I don't know. Nella, how do you feel about involving dystopic elements in our series that we've already started? There is definitely an element we can play with about the ending of one world and the horrors of the new. Maybe Cthulhu's home dimension is dystopic. Or something. Or something. While we did start with the intent of being, just a parody, I'm not terribly interested in making this the Hungover Games. Here's a question. Lindsay, what is it about ya dystopia that makes you hesitant about parodying it? Well, let me tell you me feelings on ya dystopia. Nella. What are some seminal modern dystopias? The two most remembered dystopias of the modern era since, the beginning of the 1900s, 1984, and Brave New World. Were these those? Cheers. Let's have a deep discussion about literary history. The thing about Brave New World in 1984 is, before anything, like Animal Farm, for instance, they are social critics. 1984 is a more obvious anxiety. It expresses a fear of totalitarian government being watched. Brave New World is more about a society being controlled by comforts and drugs and being basically desensitized, which effectively robs them of their humanity. And also, robbing people of their desire to change their circumstances, like with the conditioning at the beginning of a child's life. When we compare that to the modern young adult dystopia, the thing about young adult is it tends to be very focused on the individual, which makes sense because young adult is ultimately about coming of age. When you look at the Hunger Games, which I like a lot, I really like the Hunger Games, there were absolutely elements of the social anxiety there, particularly in regard to reality shows and people's lives as entertainment for the masses. But there's a lot of other things there too. There's income inequality, and it absolutely has that element of the personal, which I think is why it's so blockbuster successful. Then you have the billion-y-jillion other fucking dystopias, which are effectively totalitarian government as a metaphor for, "Don't tell me what to do, Mom." I actually just read Earthseed, the series, by Octavia Butler, and reading it, the thing that really struck me is I am a person who really does love a dystopian. I do like exploring how societies we know it might have collapsed, how we re-dealing with it, how we re-being oppressed, how we overcome it. Realizing, and not so much the Hunger Games, but other series and other books, is that Earthseed is complete. It explores the collapse in a way that the others fail to do, and the stakes are real in a way that a lot of dystopian just doesn't quite grasp. Well, the thing about dystopia, the thing that's kind of driving me mad about it is not only the fact that there is a figurehead, it's a figurehead that if you conquer it, then everything's okay. It's not. It has nothing to do with the fabric of society, which Earthseed explores a lot. But I think the really interesting thing about Earthseed within the context of this discussion, there is no difference between that and a young adult novel, because the protagonist, especially in the first book, Parable of the Sower, read it. Read it now. Today. Before you read this. I promise. No, seriously. I don't care how good this is. Parable of the Sower is better. It features basically a protagonist from, I think she's 15 through 19 throughout the novel. It's a young adult novel, but Earthseed is a great modern dystopia, but it's not playing to what publishers or writers, as it were, think are the anxieties and concerns of teenagers, which is totalitarian government is a metaphor for you can't tell me what to do, Mom. I'm an adult. Also, it's decidedly non-sexy, because there's no, triangle. Yeah. Well, there's no triangle, and the only love interest is, like, 50. Yeah. It's a little creepy, but hey, end of the world. What ifs? What ifs? Dystopia is an interesting conversation, and by all means, please converse in the comments, and we may discuss dystopia in another episode, because that is absolutely relevant not only to young adult, but to science fiction in general. I don't know. I feel like it's been a shift in science fiction. In the past, it's been more about what we've built towards, and now it's about how we have destroyed ourselves, and what can we do to reclaim what we have lost. Which totally makes sense, considering the the North Atlantic Current. After our lengthy dystopian conversation, if Arisen is not a dystopia, what is it? As we mentioned in last week's episode, we have an idea as to what it is, but before we start actually talking mechanics of plot and setting and characters and all that fun stuff, we want to hear what you have to say without it being a Hunger Games parody. Please no. Close it. So now, as we are coming to the close of our second martini and second episode of the new season, please goddammit give us better names that don't have anything to do with 50 Shades of Grey. We like puns. Puns and things that have to do with drinking and reading. Proofreading, you might say, except for that's the name of a Tumblr. And it's a wonderful Tumblr. You should follow it. You proofreading books, it's cute, but we don't want to plagiarize. So about that Goodreads. Oh yeah, it is set up. We now have a Goodreads account under Shay Apocalypse. First name Shay, last name Apocalypse. That's how it made me do it. So you friend us on Goodreads, we'll friend you back, and we'll start building our reading wall. Yeah. Our reading wall will be young adults and adult science fiction and fantasy, and maybe some Aprolobes and cloud atlases and other things that we find relevant and interesting. I still need to read that. You do, but you won't have time. Please leave your comments on our website, shayapocalypse.com, tweet at us at shayapocalypse, and talk to us in the normal Twitter places. And also give us drink recites, because this one I had to find. It was too strong. Here still books and fewer technical difficulties. And that way we might be a little more coherent. To Feener, inert, tier.